Hello, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We are on this amazing journey and we're going live. I'm going live and we're going to be talking to 2 or 3 women. We've got 2 women here, possibly 3. The third will be joining us. She hasn't arrived yet. And we're going to be doing a live walkthrough of weight loss plans and weight loss problems. We're going to talk about the problems first, and then we're going to sort of individually, so there's 2 to 3 women that we're going to talk to, and we're going to walk through exactly what they're doing at the moment in terms of fitness and weight loss. It might not be a lot, it might be quite a bit. We've got a whole range of women here, actually. Some of them already do quite a bit, some of them not so much, so they want to know how to start. So hopefully we've got something for everybody. But I'd love to know, drop a comment, whereabouts you are watching from. And it's absolutely fantastic to have you here live. Welcome. And, do drop sort of a bit about you, your experience, what you're here for, what you're here to learn. I would love to know, but you're going to learn a massive amount today because you're going to learn really with my coaching hat on how I actually help women. And one of the things is I've got a t-shirt here. Let me just stand back. It's work out like a bro. And I've actually got some new kit at the moment, which you can buy here on YouTube. You can sort of click down below and find out how to buy that. But one of the things I do recommend is work out like a bro. And that's why it says that on my top. I've got the muscle tank. If you're looking at the gear and thinking I want to buy something, this is the muscle tank. And one of the things I recommend to women is work out like a bro. But thank you very much for joining, Yvette, Silva, Shante, Shay, Michelle. I see that, Michelle's in the UK like me. Lena from Barbados. Well, I went to Barbados in January 2024, was it? 24. Yeah, January 2024. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. So Gisela said, hoping to become lean and fit. And at the very end of this live, I'm going to be talking a really special thing. Oh, I've just seen that Faith has joined us. Hello, Faith. Thank you for joining. We're going to have I'm going to walk you through a really special opportunity to take part in my 8-week challenge and win yourself $20,000. But first off, we're going to be talking to 3 women. We've got Tiffany, Marina, and Faith. And I'm just going to sort of share screen a minute here. That's probably not that's it. I want to be so I can sort of so you can still see me. So we've got 3 participants. Sorry, it's a bit slow loading. Marina, Tiffany, and Faith. They're all here with me on this live. So they're not out there with you. They're here with me. So we're actually going to hear from them one by one. The first person we've got actually is Marina. And I'm just going to sort of give you, before we get Marina on, give you a bit of background about Marina. You can see whether it's relatable. I think I've got this right, and I had to do the math. She's kind of 58 kilos, so she's not really overweight. And she's been taking Ozempic, or it might be Wegovy since September. So that was one of the really interesting aspects I wanted to sort of delve into and do a deep dive into this. Because sometimes you can experience weight loss, and I think possibly this is Marina, but you're not quite in the shape that you want to be. And that's what happened to me. Well, we didn't have weight loss drugs when I went on my transformation journey, but I kind of got weight loss, but I wasn't in the shape that I wanted to be. And it said on the form, so I invited all of you guys to apply here on YouTube. I sent an email out, and I had about 80 odd applications, which I looked through carefully before deciding. So in her application, she says, oh, you know, I'm working out around twice a week. She's actually working out now. I think maybe she means just weights is what she does twice a week. And she's her nutrition, she said she's kind of low carb. So I'm just gonna now talk. Let's get Marina on because it's quite interesting. She's actually at the gym. Hi,
Yes,
Marina.
exactly. Hi, everyone. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for the invitation so much. I'm really excited to be part of this session.
Oh,
And
well,
yes,
thank
I
you
am in the
so.
gym currently. Sorry, it was not planned like this, but yeah, sometimes you need to combine
Yeah.
things unexpectedly. So I decided to do that. I hope it's okay.
And you're in Switzerland, aren't you? Is that
Yes,
right?
I live in Zurich, in Switzerland. It's okay.
Yeah. Beautiful place, a lot of mountains, a lot of hills.
Yeah,
So
and you need to be in a
tell
shape to be able to go skiing and hiking on those beautiful mountains, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about your working out because I'm not quite sure I read that right in on your form. So take me through like a typical week, what you do.
Yeah, currently my routine is that I try to do two weight lifting trainings per week. I concentrate on my legs, and I also, of course, take my upper body, arms, and back also into this. Of course, core, but core is a very difficult topic. And I also struggle because of course, time. Deficit where to put the cardio into the sessions should be separated like a separate
Yeah.
session, a third session number three, or should it be integrated in weightlifting as a first part of the training or last part of the training. This would be out of my interest. So yeah, I do currently less cardio and I focus on weightlifting.
You do less cardio and you focus on the weight training and you do weight training a couple of times a week. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you could fit any more lifting in?
Um, yes, with a lot of discipline, I could.
I would really love you to do more lifting. And I kind of put together, if I may, I'm going to sort of share the screen again, Marina. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about this first, and then we're going to go into nutrition in quite a lot of depth, because obviously nutrition's really important. So, what I would love you to do, so if I was kind of coaching you, even if you sort of did 3 times a week, that would be great. If you're wanting perfection 4 times a week of lifting, and we're going to talk about the cardio. So in here, I've got. So at the moment, I you said on your form you mainly do legs. I would now doing legs is absolutely fantastic. Strength training your legs and glutes and doing your lifting sessions and focusing on legs is absolutely brilliant.
Mhm.
However, you do need to sort of balance it out with your upper body. So it's really important to do, your push movements. So that's things like press ups, your your pull movements. So that's things like lateral pull downs. And when you get a bit stronger, you can even incorporate pull ups, or you can do assisted pull ups if you work out in the gym, which I know you're sort of in the gym, aren't you? So that you can do
Yeah.
sort of so you've got your pull movements and you've got your push movements. And I love women over 40, menopausal women, to really focus in on those big lifts, whether it's upper body or lower body. They're called compound movements. So they're things like your lunges, your squats, your carry movements. Sometimes it's really good to like do walking lunges if you haven't got bad knees and you're able to do, walking lunges. That is amazing. But some kind of carry movement, some kind of push movement, lots of pull push movements. There's things like press ups and bench presses, overhead presses, Marina, and then pull movements. And you want to kind of split that up. So you might want to do, if you were doing 3 times a week, I'd say to 2 leg days, 1 push day and 1 pull day. If you're doing 3 days a week, you might want to do 1 week where you do legs twice a week, and then you do 1 upper body day where you put your push and your pull together. And then the following week, you do a slightly different split where you do your push and your pull separately and 1 leg day. And you can put in your glute exercises like your hip thrusts while you're doing your legs as well. And then, so you did mention your cardio, and this is really important. And a lot of women get this wrong, and it's just because we haven't sort of necessarily been told, Marina, but it's really important to put in your cardio after strength training, because you want all
Okay.
your energy and everything for muscle building. That's more important than anything else.
Okay.
And how long have you been watching me, Marina?
I think I discovered your channel 2 years ago, and I always come back for new advice and new ideas. So let's say 2 years.
Yeah, so you probably know, you're well aware of, I talk about the importance of muscle building and strength.
Yep.
And what I do is something called like a bodybuilder's protocol. This is why I got the t-shirt, work out like a bro,
Yeah.
because I always want to think of it like that. And it works really well for menopausal women in particular, as we get older. And so really our main priority and what we should be focusing on, Marina, is building muscle. So you want to do that at the start of the workout. So you might warm up, like you're on your, I think you're on a treadmill or an elliptical, anything like that. You warm up for
Exactly.
5 to 10 minutes, and then you jump straight to your lifting. And you
Okay.
want to be lifting between 30 minutes, 45 minutes, perhaps if it's a leg session, even an hour, maybe. But you
It
want to
usually takes
be,
me an hour.
yeah, and and maybe that's the thing that you could look at with your having more sessions, but cutting the time down to 45 minutes. So you do like one
Okay.
leg day, it's 45 minutes. That make it better for you fitting it in. And we're going to be talking actually throughout this live, because it's one of the problems for women. You're probably, are you working full time, Marina?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when do you normally work out? Is it before work or is it after?
I always do sport after work in the evening.
Yeah. And so you probably find it tends to be you sort of have less energy in the evening. Anybody going through menopause
Yeah.
finds that they're like,
Yeah.
so of course that's
That's true.
another reason to put the workout at the lifting at the start. And then what
Hmm.
I've got in here, Marina, is I've said just do 15 minutes of cardio after your workout. And maybe if you can get in this is, I guess it would be in an ideal situation. I put in day 5, workout for a 30-minute high intensity interval training. So you could do that on the elliptical. There might be a class at the gym. You can do, some gyms do classes. Or if you don't like the idea of HIIT and you live in a great area, Switzerland, it's absolutely fantastic. A bit cold at this time of year, but for walking. But you could see some of the people watching, they won't live in this beautiful environment where you might just think, actually, what I'm going to do is exchange my cardio. So I've put in like, do 15 minutes after training. But you might sort of think, well, instead of that HIIT workout I've got on day 5, I'm going to go walking with a weighted vest, or because you live in a hilly area, just to hike a hill walk, you don't need to add in the weighted vest because it's really hard
Hmm.
anyway. So maybe on the weekends when you're less busy, you could do a couple of hill walks, and that's like really amazing cardio. You get like, it's really good for your mind, it's really good for your soul, your spirit, isn't it? Because it's like outdoor in nature.
Yeah, being outdoors
So
is
how does that
amazing thing.
sound?
This is an
So
interesting
yes,
thing what you advise, because due to lack of time, I was trying to do twice a week sessions, but really comprehensive sessions. So I would do massive different exercises and liftings and pushings for my legs, squats, different shapes, lunges and stuff, but longer, so that I am really satisfied with what I've done. While you are suggesting rather to shorten the sessions down a bit to 45 minutes max,
mm,
but do more frequent sessions during the week, more days with trainings.
yeah. Yeah, because you sort of come to me because what you're doing isn't working, isn't it? So that's my recommendation. And of course, that's what I do. So my lifting session today, actually, I just did shoulders. I split mine even further down into body parts, like, really split it down because I'm quite, I'm more advanced now. So I just did shoulders and abs, and it was for 40 minutes. That's all I did. And then I got on the treadmill and did an incline walk for 15 minutes after. And that was
Mm-hmm.
it. And so what's happening is you're working those muscle groups a little bit more effectively. And so you're going to get a better result. Just even if I could really persuade you to increase to 3 times a week, it's going to make a big difference. And
It's
these
going to make a
small
big difference
investments,
to muscle shape or to this
yeah,
little overweight
muscle
which I
shape and
have.
size. Because
Okay.
because really what you're doing is you're working one muscle part. So say if we took your chest and you did a push there, you're probably going to put your chest and your shoulders in. You're going to work that chest really hard. Then you're not going to do it for another week. But on another day, you're going to do like your back and your biceps. And you're going to work that really hard, but you're not going to do it for another week. And the same with your legs. You're going to work them really hard, and then you're not going to do it for another week. So that's how like a bro split really works. You're splitting.
Grossly.
So rather than
Okay.
doing, if you're working out twice a week, doing a full body workout is, probably the best thing if you're doing twice a week. But we've discovered that's actually not really working well for you. And this is why I advise women to
Okay.
usually, unless they've got some sort of medical condition that prevents them from working out more often, I usually get them working out 3 or 4 times a week. And plus, if you're sort of thinking, oh, well, I haven't got time for cardio, that's where I'd lean into when it's getting lighter evenings, obviously in Switzerland at the moment. So what time is it there now? You're an hour ahead of me, I think, aren't you?
Yes,
Is it
exactly.
six?
It's London 10 plus 1 hour. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like 6:15 in the evening. It's probably dark. But as you
Yeah.
move into the summer, you might sort of think in the evening, well, I'm going to go for a walk. And I've got these beautiful hills. I've got this lovely environment. I mean, where I live not such a beautiful environment, but really lovely nevertheless where I live. I live near the sea as well, and I've got lovely country walks. And so what I love to do is just get up a little bit early in the morning when it's lighter in the spring and the
Mm-hmm.
summer. And then I just take a walk in the morning, and then it's just done. So that's another
Yeah, I
option for
also was
you.
thinking about it to integrate the walk in the morning. But because I like to
Yeah,
work hard, also on sports, I was thinking, yeah, it's better I do a proper session in between.
yeah. So I wouldn't agonize over cardio too much. I should really put your main effort into strength training and lifting,
Okay.
Marina, and you'll really notice a difference with that. And like the cardio is a bit of like an add-on for like burning calories and that sort of thing. So we're going to let's talk about nutrition, because nutrition is absolutely key. So I'm just going to change the screen there, and you talk me through, because we did say at the start a little bit about it. You're a meat eater, you're a fish eater, you do, which sounds great. You're low carb. So what would
Mm-hmm.
like a typical day of eating look like for you?
Typically, I start with breakfast, but breakfast is just a cup of coffee and piece of bread with some cheese on it. And then I would have lunch where it's mainly vegetables and meat or fish, and maybe a bit of carbs because it gives me better saturation actually. Only meat and
Mm.
vegetables, interestingly, doesn't make me feel saturated for a long time. So I still put a bit of potatoes, for example, on my plate, or maybe some pasta, just a tiny bit, rice. And in the evenings, I'm usually less hungry. Naturally, it was always like that since 9 years already, 15 or 20 years. But I still have dinner, um, yeah, where it's again some meat or fish and some vegetables.
Yeah. And did
So
I have
since,
your weight right? It's 58 kilos, which is about
yeah,
125 pounds to anyone watching in
yeah,
America.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
58 kilos. So, you're not, do you weigh and measure your food?
My boots, you mean in centimeters?
So, do you like weigh out your food and count your macros, count how much protein you're eating?
I used to do it, but it's quite cumbersome. But I put an eye on it that I eat enough proteins because I know how important is that. But I don't
If I,
calculate everything.
yeah, and if I sort of said to you, if you weigh and measure your food, it's really now because you've been taking a Ozempic. You were quite open and honest with me about that. So you're getting weight loss, and we've like gone through with your training and how to get results on that. And so really the difference between, and I don't have the picture with me, but the difference between when I'm like really lean and cut, and then when I'm not so lean and cut, and I'm not looking as on point. So you've only got small margins to go. You probably don't really need to lose any weight, in all honesty, on the scale. Very much it's now about losing what I would call losing fat and building
Uh-huh.
muscle to get in that better shape that you want, that you're looking for. We didn't actually talk about your goal, did we? But you've told me your goal. So then the thing that's going to it's going to move the needle more than anything else we've talked about now is your nutrition.
Uh-huh.
And so for you, it's a question of you've got to sort of ask yourself. So if I sort of give you a bit of a story, I love telling stories. So when I was younger, I was 35 and I sort of signed up with this personal trainer, and he was like a competitive bodybuilder. He was great. And he trained me, but he'd also look over my nutrition, and I used to give him like a food diary, and I'd see him once a week, and then I'd train independently. And when I see him once a week, he'd look at my food diary, and I was doing great. I was like getting the protein in, I was being mindful. And he said to me, Melissa, if you start weighing and measuring your food, you could look amazing. But the thing was then, Marina, I didn't want to, I was happy with how I looked because I was in my mid 30s, and I just thought, well, that's great, but I don't really, I enjoy the odd glass of wine, and I'm in great shape already just by incorporating what he said, because I was only 35. But fast forward to age 50, and I really wasn't seeing results, and I wasn't moving the needle. And then someone said to me, you need to track your macros, Melissa. You need to be eating high protein, you need to weigh your food out. And within a matter of weeks, and this is what women find on my programs, I noticed an incredible difference. And so that's the question you've got to ask yourself. What's more important, that, I find that a bit tedious and boring weighing my food out? Or do I really want to move the needle on my body shape?
Well, I agree with you on effectiveness because I was doing it 2 years ago, but I cannot incorporate it in my everyday life. I also mostly all lunches I take in the canteen at shop, and there it's impossible, of course, to calculate macros. And I I don't have time and energy to prepare food for my lunches, calculating that stuff. So this part Yeah, probably for me, it's going to be difficult to integrate.
When you say, I've got to be a bit mindful of time because we've got two other women to get on who are waiting very patiently. When you say you haven't got time, do you think that's really true? Because I know I've got a friend of mine, and I had a really busy job as well, and I was commuting 3 hours a day, and I had two young children, and I still fitted in prepping all my food, going to the gym multiple times a week, and that sort of thing. So, I was actually preparing for a show, and I got a friend who has four children, and they were a bit younger at the time, and she had three jobs, and she still managed to do it. So, when you say you haven't got time, do you think that's really right, or do you think you could make time?
Well, I think it's a personal decision, and I can understand that people with four children still find some time to cook the food for themselves and cultivate macros. But I maybe rather during the time, especially when it's getting
Yeah,
talk about preferences and
we're losing
personal
you a little
priorities, I
bit.
would say. Because,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Yeah. So I was saying that my I like to have an active life, and I like to incorporate also cultural aspects of going to concerts, to opera, theater, and so on. I like to go to the
Mm,
mountains on weekends because it is so close. Um, traveling because the world is in the middle of Europe, which is also amazing stuff. So there, I want to find um, the solution which is suitable for me personally. That's what I mean.
yeah. And I think that's that's the thing that you've got to sort of decide for yourself. So I can put you a recommendation, but if you say to me, well, Melissa, I don't want to weigh and measure my food, you have to accept the fact you're not going to get the results you want. And that's the rub. Because as you get older, I talked about when I was 35 and I didn't want to implement it because I just sort of thought, well, I don't really need it. I looked great, really good on the protocol I was doing, and I just eyeballed everything. But as I got older, that just didn't work. And so weighing and measuring the food is going to be the key difference. So I've kind of given a breakdown there, but I
Mhm.
think it's in now within you to decide, do I want to incorporate this? Well, it sounds like you don't really, but you've got to decide, do I make some sacrifices? Because women that are in fantastic shape at this stage in life, they have to make sacrifices. It's not going to be easy, but you might just say to yourself, well, no, I'm really happy with how I'm doing. I'm going to just increase the bit, do a bit of lifting, add in a bit more cardio as I recommended, and I'm going to be happy. I did sort of put another little, just as a little side note, because you are on Ozempic, just try not to skip meals.
Yeah,
So with getting the
definitely.
protein in, what you're talking about is getting in protein in every single meal and snack. And so if it was like a bit of chicken or meat, which you said you want a palm size amount of that, or it might be a pot of Greek yogurt, like a cup of Greek yogurt, a cup of like cottage cheese, 3 eggs, that kind of thing. So you can look at doing that, but you're never going to find, and I'll be totally honest with you, that you'll get the same kind of results doing that as you would as weighing and measuring your food. So, that's kind of up to you. But before we move on, because I'm conscious we've got two other women waiting in the wings, if you've got just one final question for me, Marina.
Um, Actually, we talked about many different topics which I had on my question list for you. Let me try to remember what other
Most
were
of that was
interesting.
about training, and we sort of covered because you were saying about
Yes,
your cardio, and I
exactly,
said, yes, you've got to do it
exactly.
after. So I think we've actually covered all that.
Yeah, yeah. But the only question which I would have is when you were in a good shape, and I'm aiming also to get to good shape. But I don't want to get. I know that everyone is saying you will not get massive muscles, but I have a feeling that genetically I'm the person who is rather on that side where muscles are growing in the volume quite fast. So, what would be the maximum weight for squat, for example, for lunge?
Oh, yeah, sorry, you did ask that. There's no maximum. I mean, you're not gonna, when you get to sort of being female and in your late 40s and 50s, you there's no maximum. I always say if you want to kind of get results with like fat burning, building muscle, sorry, taking you off the screen. I didn't mean to do that. I took you off. I meant to take the PowerPoint off the screen. With muscle building, you want to go as heavy as you possibly can, but I can't give you a number because I know you said, oh, should I just not do 30, should I do it to 30 kilos? But you'll know with your own body, it's like I got massive quads. I don't really mind that. I can put size on my quads really easily, but I could, if I wanted to, I could say to myself, oh, I'm not going to, I'm going to stop increasing the weight on quads. But I don't do that because I just kind of think, well, the more muscle I've got, the more calories I'm going to burn. I'm going to tackle my insulin resistance and my body's going to get much more efficient at burning calories. So I always think, don't worry, but you're going to see visibly how you are progressing. But generally, as women our age, we're not going to look like stage competitor women because most of those take performance enhancing drugs. And I've been training for 7 years and I can't get to the size of some of those bigger women that go on stage. It's just not possible, especially for someone my age. But genetics, you're right, genetics do play a role. So like some people be more predisposed that they'll get like bigger shoulders. So they might sort of think, well, actually, I want to focus on training my glutes a bit more because that's where, I want to increase my size. So it's all down to a sort of personal preference. But I wouldn't put a weight limit and go, oh, I can't lift, I shouldn't lift any heavier than that. Otherwise, I'm going to get so, say, bulky. I don't believe in that idea, to be honest, of getting bulky. If I'm completely honest with you, I just don't think it's humanly possible. But everybody's got a different perception of what they consider to be too muscular. And I know some women leave comments on my videos saying that it's far too muscular, but the good news about having more muscle on you is it's going to keep your body fat percentage down.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Melissa.
thank you so much, Marina. We're going to move on.
Thank you.
I'm conscious of time. So thank you so much for taking part. And I hope everyone out there really got something. And maybe some of you have been, actually going through what Marina's going through and thought, well, that has been really fantastic. And now we're actually going to hear from Tiffany. So here's Tiffany. I'm going to get her on the screen. And I'm just going to, before we go into it, Tiffany,
Really are.
if I've got this right,
Happy
tell me if I
birthday,
got
thank
this
you.
right. So let's just share the screen on what you're after. If I can do that. So it's always a bit of a difficulty. So you want to lose about 50 pounds, is that right? That sounds like an awful lot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You don't, I mean, we had a really long chat before the call, didn't we? And I thought, well, I don't think this looks like the same person that says they want to lose 50 pounds. But anyway, and you're quite sedentary already. So this is very different from Marina. And Faith, who we've got waiting in the wings patiently, is also very different again. All different types of women we've got, which is, you were sort of chosen for a reason. And you just started to strength train, is that right?
Yes. My schedule is not very consistent because of just being home with the four children and homeschooling. So at this stage of my life, I it's like I don't know where to start, and then I also don't know how to eat at this stage because I can't eat the same way that I did, when I was younger. So those would be the two biggest struggles for me.
Fantastic. And just to let everyone know, Tiffany's in the library at the moment, so that's why you can hear the background. And you homeschool your kids. I didn't put this on the slides. I think it's really important that we talk about this. So that's going to be really challenging for in terms of your time management, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's fitting it in. And I know early mornings are probably going to be the order of the day, getting up. I know you mentioned to Marina about walking, maybe getting up in the morning when the children are still asleep. That's maybe going to be my golden hour, so to speak, to fit that in. Yeah, some sacrifice will definitely be in order.
And then you've been trying it. I picked up from your kind of form that you filled in intermittent fasting and OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. So how have you been getting on with that?
That, interestingly enough, has been different. About 2 years ago, it was very easy for me to do intermittent fasting. Now in the mornings, I tend to be very hungry. And so it's really hard for me to wait until maybe noon. I'm like, I want to eat. And I'm not sure if that's mind over matter, or is that my body starting to change where that's just the need that I have at this stage. I'm not sure which that is, but it's harder this time around.
Yeah, I'm glad you told me that, because my sort of question was going to be, well, why are you doing it if it isn't working? Because you're not where you want to be. And
Right.
I strongly believe, so it's something that I tried for 18 months and I
Mm-hmm.
found it really, really difficult. And I think with everything that is going on with women's hormones, so you're 48, aren't you?
Yes.
Is that right? You're 48. So
Yes.
with everything that's going on with women's hormones, we can often find it's really difficult if we're in the perimenopause stage. We can become more hungry and it kind of makes us more agitated, and then our cortisol levels go up. And then, of course, if your cortisol levels go up, it's sort of counterproductive. And I think our bodies don't respond as well, because a lot of the studies, Tiffany, on intermittent fasting have been carried out on men, and there's not a massive body of study and evidence on menopausal women. So I tend to just take it on what I know anecdotally by speaking to people and my own experience. And it's just one of those things that can be right for some people. I don't completely dismiss it, but one of the things is, I think 1 meal a day in particular can be a bit problematic, because you're not going to be able to get in your protein needs on 1 meal a day.
Okay.
And if it's not working, I always think like with anything, it's like, well, if it's not really working and you're struggling and you find you're hungry and maybe it's making you irritable and a bit irritable with the children and things like that, and then it's not really worth it, is it? Because you just sort of think, well, it's just it's too difficult. And that's exactly what I found. And when I went on to a meal protocol of spreading my meals out, so eating 3 or 4 meals a day, that was much more comfortable for me, eating three or 4 meals a day. So that's kind of, we'll talk about that, but I just wanted to know, so I asked the question, and I'll ask it to you. I asked the question on the form, well, why do you think you're not where you want to be? And you kind of said, oh, it was a combination of like mindset, consistency, and self-care. So you're putting your family needs above everything else. Is that right?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, I've got to start to prioritize so I can be healthier, for them, and fitting it in. The other thing too, I didn't get to mention was that I don't utilize the gym, so we don't have a gym membership. So all of my workouts would need to be. Now we live on acreage, so I can hike, I can, utilize weights,
Oh,
but it would be
fantastic.
all home workouts for me.
And that was one of the things I picked out. One of the reasons I picked out, because I'm a really strong believer that it doesn't matter if you work out at home or in the gym. there's no right or wrong answer. So with Marina that we were speaking to before, she worked out in the gym, but she also said, oh, I work out after work. Then that again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever works for you, which helps you fit it into your schedule. So you get some people that kind of go, oh, well, it's best to do it in the morning and that sort of thing, or it's better to train in the gym. No, it's not, because if you can't be consistent, if you're being forced into a routine that doesn't really work very well for you, then that's not the best way of doing it, is it? Because you're just going to keep completely falling off all the time. And just to let you know, during COVID, when the pandemic was in full swing and the gyms were actually shut, because my personal preference, just because I like it, because of my mindset and everything, I like to go out to a gym. My personal preference would be to go to a gym, but I was forced to work out from home. And I got absolutely in amazing shape working out from home, really good. And I see it with all, the women that join my programs. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between someone that works out at home when they present their after pictures and someone that's done it at the gym. So you can just get a really great workout from home. There's nothing wrong with that. And like for many women, especially if you have children, it's great. So for you, I'm not even going to talk about the diet and exercise as the first thing, because what we're going to talk about is really the like mindset stuff. Because that's the picture I was kind of getting when I read through your form, Tiffany. I was like, I think it's no good me telling you, well, this is what you need to do. You need to do this and you need to do that. Because you probably know, well, I need to exercise and I need to eat well, don't you? So you're struggling with this thing that I put down at the bottom. So I wanted to like just delve a little bit deeper into this. And this is a slide that I put up for my clients sometimes and get them to think, and everybody that's watching, please think, if you're struggling like Tiffany, and most people do, in all honesty, to a lesser and greater extent. So Marina was struggling about whether it was a priority for her to weigh and measure her food and get really anal about everything, if I can say that, really anal and detailed about everything, or is she kind of happy with how she is and maybe, I'm just going to stay as I am because I just don't want to do those things that require, those things that are required for me to get to the next level. I don't want to do those things. And we all have to make these choices, and for someone like me, I've made a ton of sacrifices to get the shape that I want, and I'm happy to do that, but not everybody is. And so, but there is something about health, and so we do have to sort of think. So I like to put this diagram. It's not brilliant diagrams. I'm not great at things like visual pictures, but family and loved ones are sort of at the top of your tree, and particularly for you, Tiffany, aren't they?
Yes.
You've got 4 children, and how old are they?
They're 15, 12, 10, and 6.
So, there's some of them are quite young. They can't just sort of fend for themselves like teenagers can. You're doing, the day-to-day care. You're the day-to-day carer, aren't you? I'm guessing, and you're homeschooling, which is even more challenging. So for you, this like thing that I've put at the top, it's like that is like super important. And I would never say to you, no, don't worry about that. You have to, and then lower down so you have to care for them. And then the other 2 things that happen in most people's lives is they have to earn money to live, but we also need our health. And they're like major priorities. And balancing those 3 things in that triangle is one of the most difficult things for women. How does that make you feel so far, Tiffany?
Well, I definitely, the feeling of overwhelm is a constant in my life, but I like how this is simplified, how you have it out. laid out here on the screen, and that's it. Those are the themes.
Those are the sort of three main priorities: making a living, your family and loved ones. So your family and loved ones always come first. You know, I've got kids, I've got 3 children. So your family and your loved ones, they always come first. Then, you know, it's like, well, I've got to earn money, but I need to look after myself. And you've come to me, haven't you? Because I'm sensing, Tiffany, that you're realizing maybe you've been neglecting yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what do you think you would like to happen with that?
I think for me, it's where I can maybe include the kiddos in my workouts some days, make meals for the whole family versus me making food for myself and then for the family, because that would be overwhelming. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe incorporating that self-care into what I have to do anyway for the household. You know, that
And
might help.
what sort of message do you think that would send out to your children?
Oh, definitely that you've got to take care of yourself, and that can be a family thing. It doesn't have to just be, when you get older, right? It could be a lifestyle. So that's definitely what I want to pass to them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, you know, when you're sort of taking care of yourself as well, it means that you're going to find you can take better care of your family because you're kind of fitter and healthier. So I think it's just maybe like just thinking about things in a slightly different way. And I'm not suggesting, I think your suggestions are absolutely brilliant. So like working out with the children, because it's actually like setting them a good example. Or mum's really fit and healthy. I also think it's good to have a conversation with them. I was really honest with my kids when I was, it's not quite the same, because what I'm going to tell you about is a little bit selfish. When I was doing my bodybuilding shows, I actually sat them down at one point and I said, oh, I want to do a couple more shows. And they were quite young at the time. They're older. They must have been like about 11 and 12, I think, but they're perfectly capable of understanding things, children are. And I kind of said, oh, I want to do these shows, but if that's going to make you feel really bad, I won't do it. And they were like, are you going to get some trophies, Mum? And I went, well, I'm going to try. And they said, well, if you get the trophies, we don't mind you doing it. And so I was like, oh, right, well, if I do it, that really actually made me more determined, because I thought I can't let them down. But I think it's really good to have a conversation, talk about your health and the overall health of the family. And we're kind of trying to improve our health, and we want to get better. And one of the things is Mom needs to start exercising a bit more. So would you like to join in, or would you mind perhaps the 15-year-old taking care of the other ones if I need to go for a walk in our outside, that kind of thing? Because you can explain to them, if I'm fitter, it's going to benefit all of you guys, and I'm going to be able to look after you better, and I'm going to have a long and healthy life. Not I don't want to scare them, but I'm going to be much better as a mom if I'm fitter and healthier. How does that sound?
No, that sounds good, and I think they'll be supportive. Yeah, I really do.
I think most kids, I'm sure you don't, but sometimes we underestimate them, don't we?
We do.
And they're actually quite smart, aren't they, kids, and able to make decisions and understand things that we need. So for you, you probably don't want to do, because this is rather a generic slide, but like the meal prep, because you're going to prepare, you're going to eat together. And this is exactly what I sort of recommended for you when I was thinking about you. And, for sleep and rest for you, that might be a bit more challenging at the moment. So you might just want to sort of think, well, I'm going to focus on, like, for you, because you've got kids and you homeschool them, you're going to need to sort of get a bit more like prioritized. So I put a calendar. Maybe you could share your schedule with them. Schedule, you call it in the USA, don't you? Your schedule. You could sort of share it with them and sort of say, well, on this day, I'm going to do my like lifting weights at this time. Do you want to come and join me? And some families have like a board up, don't they? They have a board, a blackboard where they put things in, and you can write the meals in and that sort of thing. And we'll talk about the food in a bit, but I just think it's good to and start to treat your body as much as you would like your profession. So it's not quite as important as your kids, and also your kids are your profession because you're looking after them, you're homeschooling them. But that idea that it's just as important, and this is really important for everybody watching, like it's just like a job. And how much effort we put into a job is like how much effort we should put into our health. It's really important because it's going to pay back huge dividends. It's like a massive investment that really pays off. So it's like planning and prioritizing. You want to get your kids involved in your meal preparations, but we've already discussed you're going to eat together. You might get them involved in the shopping together, like looking at like healthy food. Get your gym clothes ready the night before. I know you're not going to the gym, but this can like really save time, and just calendar in any tasks that you need to do. Calendar them in if they're to do with like your health. Like you're getting your daily walk. We'll talk about exercise in a minute, and we're not going to make it too onerous because you're coming from a place of you're sedentary. So anything that you do to move the needle is going to massively have an impact. So of course, for you, you're a bit not like Marina, where you're like, well, you don't need to get to the next level. I don't know why I put Marina there. I meant Tiffany. You want to be getting like 170 grams of protein more and 2,000 calories. So when you were fasting and OMAD, that's hugely under eating, and you probably found that you were like fatigued. Were you, Tiffany?
Yes. Yeah, definitely not feeling my best.
You want to just focus on your healthy, balanced meals that your kids can eat too, but just getting in the protein. So do you eat meat and fish, Tiffany, or?
I do enjoy fish. I'm not much of a meat eater. I'm just, chicken
No.
here and there, but yeah, I'm not a big meat eater.
So sort of good forms of protein for you would be like obviously fish, eggs, and one that I'm getting a bit huge on at the moment, which is going massive, is cottage cheese, tofu, tempeh. Tofu and tempeh can be a little bit expensive. Tofu not quite so expensive. Adding beans and lentils to meals. So if you've got 4 children, you can like bulk out a meal by putting in beans and lentils, and then it stretches a bit further, but also it's really high in protein. So that's a good way of adding protein in. So just think when you're eating your food, getting in a balanced meal with lots of veggies, fresh veggies, fruit. If you can start off with an oatmeal-based meal, a breakfast of oatmeal, and maybe adding in some protein powder to your oatmeal, that will keep you also satisfied for long. And I wouldn't worry at all about fasting, as it's not working for you. Just have a meal when you get up, and don't feel you've got to, or not straight away when you get up, but when you're feeling hungry in the morning, get a meal in. But do go, if you like oatmeal, go for something like oatmeal, because it keeps you full and satisfied for hours. So have you got any questions about that so far, Tiffany?
No. It's pretty straightforward.
And then let's talk about the working out, because when somebody's sedentary, there's no point in sort of saying to them, well, you know, of course, I was saying this to Marina because she'd been working out for a bit, but like pushing her to do a bit more. For you, it's kind of the opposite. So although I have put 3 times a week there for like weightlifting, I actually have a beginner strength training program that could be good for you as well. It's $69, so you might want to look at that. You know, get yourself a wearable, or if you haven't done already, and aim not to get in 7,000 steps a day straight away, but eventually.
Go back.
So if you can just sort of say to yourself, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes a day, and that's all you're set, that's your goal to start off with. So it's just going to be walking in your, getting outside and walk for 10 minutes every single day. And if you can, 3 times a week of strength training, which you need to negotiate with your children when that's going to be, but like maybe in the first thing in the morning before they get up or something like that, or you all do it together, which they'll find enormous fun, I'm sure. So 2 or 3 times a week. If 3 times a week is just not doable, this is what, with people starting off, just to let everybody know, I always sort of think you want to make it easy for yourself. So you don't go all in. Some people have got a massive, like, all or nothing personality, haven't they? And they think, oh, yeah, I'm going to go 5 times a week and I'm going to go for an hour.
Thank you. Have a good
It's really hard on you. If you sort of say to yourself, I've got to do an hour, it's horrible. But if you say, I go, 10 minutes, that's all I've got to do. And then you gradually build up from there. And I find if you get out for 10 minutes, you think, this is wonderful. I absolutely love it because I get in the fresh air. Might be a little bit cold in Pennsylvania at the moment because you're in Pennsylvania, aren't you? But, you know, as the spring starts the spring, you'll find it's like, oh, yeah, I can just get this like bit of fresh air for 10 minutes. Give me a break because you're sort of homeschooling your kids. And I'm sure your 15-year-old, or they can come with you, can't they? The younger ones can come with you. So how does that sound?
It sounds encouraging. It sounds doable because I was definitely that all or nothing mindset. And so you kind of stay paralyzed with like, oh, where do I start? Because it's not feasible, right? So this definitely looks like, oh, I can do this. I can fit this in. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what you'll find as well, because then you don't feel like you failed. So if you put in just really small measures, like I'm going to walk 10 minutes a day and I'm going to start adding more veggies to my meal, maybe as a start off. I'm going to add more veggies to my meal and start getting, you know, we're starting to sort of incorporate healthy, balanced meals. These are small changes, but they'll make a huge difference and they're achievable because there's no point in setting yourself up for something and then you feel if you fall off, you feel like, oh, I failed, so I might as well not even bother. And then it's like that, isn't it? Whereas if you can just set some small little, like 10 minutes of walking a day, cooking like healthy, balanced meals for my family, it's really achievable. And you're all getting sort of healthy together.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is good. This is really good. I think that's how the mind can change is when we can do the little steps versus trying to keep up with everybody else who has a completely different schedule and lifestyle, right? And I think that's what I was doing. I really do. I was sabotaging myself. So this is very helpful.
And if you do fall off, Tiffany, don't beat yourself up. Don't sort of think, oh, I failed, because if you're kind of doing, I love to talk about the 80-20 rule, like you're doing it 80% of the time. That's what you're aiming for, not perfection all the time, just 80% of the time. And then you don't feel so bad. And the last thing I sort of wanted to just address with you is like the self-care stuff, which you put the word self-care in your form. And so you might want to maybe do something that's de-stressed, like yoga, maybe. But, you know, that's entirely, you might find something else that's de-stressing, painting, I don't know what, or breath work. breath work, meditation, something that's just doing something entirely for you, even if you just took 15 minutes out of your day to do something a bit more de-stressing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's going to be important as well, because we as moms don't do that. We just go on autopilot, and a month or 6 months goes by and we're like, oh my gosh, why am I so burnt out? But we didn't take that little bit of time for ourselves. So again, this is a really good reminder that it's doable.
Well, that's kind of all I kind of had in mind for you, Tiffany. It's not like a huge sort of list of things, and it was more about for you looking at your how you're sort of how you're visualizing your health and fitness,
Mm-hmm.
and not visualizing it less as a sideline and more as just sort of part of your life, and prioritizing it for you and your family, and just getting them involved in those discussions. Really, I think for you that's like the most important thing.
Yes, I would agree. Thank you. Yeah, this is definitely helpful. Very much so.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to thank you so much, Tiffany. It's been wonderful to have you, and keep me posted on how you're getting on as well. I'd love to sort of hear from you. So
Yes, ma'am.
thanks very much, and hope to see you again. And now, thank you for waiting all this time, Faith. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Oh, really good. It's so good to meet you, Faith. And thank you very much for sort of filling the form in and telling me about yourself. And I'm sort of going to share, if I might, with the audience a little bit about you, which I managed to sort of glean from your form. I was really excited because you're sort of, can I say you're sort of in show business? You're a presenter.
Yes.
So you kind of got you got this sort of perhaps kind of real motive, haven't you, in a way, to I've worked with a few women that are kind of in the sort of, I suppose, in the show business world, but I'll sort of briefly talk about it, and then we can talk about it together. But what I managed to glean from your sort of form that you filled in, was you're really extremely fit. You're like on it, and you're doing everything you possibly can. Even your friends sort of think, well, you're in great shape. Why do you need to do anything? So you're very active, and you already lift weights, and you're ready to sort of make a change, aren't you? You're ready to start something new. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. I'm ready to take it to the next level.
So talk to me. What does that mean? How would you visualize it?
Well, yes, I am an entertainer. I do stand-up comedy. I am an MC. I'm on the radio. I travel around the country speaking to schools, middle schools, high schools, and I am an author. Just finished writing a few books, and I'm just ready to take it to the next level. I think the way it looks is sustainable. I've been following you for a long time, and one of the things I appreciate about you is you talk about sustainability. So, because I've been working in radio, I remember doing radio programs programs like eating programs, and then you would have to do a testimonial. Well, for me, respectfully, for anybody listening, for me, it's a little foolish because you'll get the results, but as soon as you stop, you go back, unless you have the mindset to continue. It is not sustainable for me. So, sure, I was getting the results. Sure, I was pushing myself. But the next level for me is having a summer of looking back on January, February, March, April, May, knowing that I've done the work and that I can relax a little, and that I will never go back, shattering my weight loss. I hide weight very well. That's can be deceiving. I'm not trying to hide weight. I just wear, what I like to wear. But people look at me, they're like, no, you look great. You look great. I'm like, thank you. But I know what I have to do.
And what vision have you got in your mind of what you want to achieve then?
Probably being, and I appreciate Marina and Tiffany. That was so helpful listening to them. So, so helpful. Being between like 145 and 150. And that's what I'm about 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", and losing, the weight by June, giving it enough time, losing appropriately. And yeah, and so that's what it looks like for me.
And what do you think's sort of been holding you back then?
Probably nutrition, probably the back and forth. And again, I love what you said. I feel like I'm starting to get it instead of the back and forth. It's easy to say, well, what is going to make me continue? Well, getting the results, getting older, flying through menopause, literally enjoying it, making fun of it because of comedy. Just laughter is so healing. And I believe, I just feel it. Sometimes you just know that this is the time. I achieved a lot of things later in life. I started running a lot later in life just to push myself. I was never an athlete at all. But every Monday, 2 years ago, I did a 5K every Monday just to see if I can do it. And I achieved it, and sometimes did twice a week just for my mindset. It just did something for my mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, that has been really good, really insightful. And I would say for you, there's kind of two things. So reading your form, I could see you were like, this is my time, I'm ready, and all this sort of thing. So I was thinking, right, okay, she's getting her mindset into gear now. And that's like really, really good. And I think the biggest thing for you, Faith, is going to be dialing in on your nutrition. And I might even be having to have a similar conversation that I don't know whether Marina, that you did catch that actually, because you were here at the start. So what I talked about with Marina is it's going to be, some trainers say with your physique, it's going to be 90% about nutrition. And when you're like exercising a lot and you're doing, I'm assuming you're kind of lifting weights and that sort of thing. If you're doing all that, the thing that's going to really move the needle, and it's actually probably going to move the needle quite quickly, actually, it won't take long, definitely by June, is taking action on your nutrition. And of course, it's the hardest part. But I know with my body, and this is what I said to Marina earlier on, it's like the difference between when I'm looking really lean and cut and some of my other pictures where I look a bit puffy, I'm doing the same exercise. I'm doing the exact same exercise. I've actually come back from Southeast Asia, and I ended up unintentionally under eating, which I wouldn't recommend at all. Sometimes I couldn't find the food that I need to eat, that I physically find good for me, nourishing for me, because believe it or not, it's really changed Southeast Asia. There's a lot of junk food now. They got like tons of 7-Elevens everywhere, and some of the supermarkets, it's all right if you eat out, funnily enough, but if you want to buy food and cook it for yourself, it's quite challenging. So I ended up under eating, and since I've been back, I'm actually exercising more, and I've actually put on a little bit of body fat because I'm eating more. So the difference between looking lean and cut and not looking lean and cut, if you're a person that's exercising a great deal, it's just going to be down to nutrition. So how do you feel about that, Faith?
Let's get it popping, 100%, because I just need somebody to tell me what to do. My eldest daughter, I'm an empty nester, and my eldest daughter years ago was measuring her food. And I was like, what are you doing? And she said what you said, which is, I really want results. And I didn't think much of it until she showed me, this is a serving, mommy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm eating, whoa, and then I would eat it and be full. You be content with it. You think, oh my God,
Mm,
people eat 2 and 3 servings. I'm eating 2 and 3 servings at a time because you're just, hogging it on. And I don't want to do that.
mm.
So hearing it, and I heard everything what you said to Marina, and I was taking notes, and I was like, okay, that's what I have to do. As soon as we finish, I have to get a scale, and I just have to do it because I'm on stage all the time. I am talking to people. I'm very, very active. And I know once I get the nutritional aspect of it, I can do it. And I I have my vision board,
Oh, fantastic.
and my
Well,
vision
yes,
board
I love that.
is all about fitness and hope and foodie, right? I'm a foodie. So when you started talking,
Mm,
I thought, wow, 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 wow. And this is something I have in front of me. I look at all the time. Um, but I just feel like now is the time, and not eating enough and getting my protein. So this is this is
yeah.
so helpful.
So let's just sort of walk through it a little bit. So, we've talked about for you, I'm not even putting anything up about exercise for you because I just think it's probably not going to move the needle for you at all. So we're talking about dialing in on your nutrition. So it's going to mean weighing your and measuring your foods. I might have underestimated your calories a little bit because I didn't actually know how much you weighed. You didn't. I don't ask people to put it down on the form because it's not important to me necessarily, and it shouldn't be to you in a strange sort of way what you weigh because it's more about the visuals. So when I was talking about I put on a little bit of body fat, I don't know that because I've got on the scale. Actually, the scale probably hasn't moved that much, but it's like, oh, I can just feel, I can see, I can look at my visuals and say, oh, I've put, which I'm not unhappy about, to be honest with you, because I know I was under eating, but it's just like it maybe the scale isn't the important thing. It's how you look in things like swimwear. Can you get the clothes from the back of your closet and that sort of thing? These are probably more important markers, like your waist measurement becomes a really important marker when you're this stage in life, Faith, because if you can sort of reduce your midsection, that's where the visceral fat sits, and it's a little bit more healthy for you if you've got a better midsection. So those are good kind of markers to go on. But yeah, for you, absolutely weighing and measuring your food. I didn't put it down there, but like getting a gram of protein per pound in body weight, so that would max out on 170 pounds. You wouldn't need to go much higher than that, and you could get away with 0.8 grams. I don't say this a lot on my content because I think it's really hard for people to retain if I go 0.8 grams of protein per pound in body weight, but actually that's what we're talking about, 0.8 grams per pound in body weight. And so you will find when you start eating like that, Faith, and you might have found this with your daughter, but you feel really full and satisfied because when you take in large amounts of protein, it's like nature's Ozempic. It keeps you full and satisfied for a really long time, so you find you're less likely to snack. But it does mean the things that I talked to Tiffany about, a bit of planning, because you're an entertainer, so you're going to be going here, there, everywhere. It takes a bit of planning and organization eating like that. So you've seen the Tupperware boxes. I had to do this, down to the minutiae at times, these Tupperware boxes, marking them up, which meal of the day they were and stuff like that. So, that's what you're looking at for you. What do you think of that so far?
That means yes, 100%. Snap, snap. All the things, 100%. I am originally from back east, New Jersey, and I usually take my vegan protein powder back with me all the time. I put it in baggies, and I always work out there, and shake my protein. I don't have to stir it. I don't put anything in it. I use water, and I just shake and drink it. So this is good, because my mindset is I like something to look forward to. I'm already dialed into your 8-week transformational challenge. And I think you said it. I think you've said it on a video before, or maybe you said it here, but the mindset of acting as though I'm going to compete, having that mindset, even though I don't have to compete, but just knowing that is going to happen. And I love that 8 weeks. I love that. So it is a bit emotional, because I feel like now is my
Oh,
time.
we've lost you a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. We lost you a little bit. Yeah.
I feel that now is my time, and I'm super excited. Did you get that? Hello?
Yeah, just about. So you feel that it's your time. So it's really funny that you mentioned the 8-week transformation challenge, because I reckon it'd be really great for you to join. And I'm going to sort of be talking. So that's what I put on the list there, because I thought, oh, this, because what's going to happen when you go into the challenge. So we've just opened the doors on our March challenge now. And March, we're actually not running one in April. So it's ideal timing if you want to sort of think, oh, I want to be getting fit for the summer and things like that. Although you don't need to get fit, but get in shape for the summer, it's an ideal time. And it's all kicks off on the 3rd of March. But I would say for you, because you're going to have the community of women that are all doing the challenge at the same time. You've got the $20,000 prize fund. So we don't get that in bodybuilding shows. Let me tell you, you get a plastic trophy if you're lucky. If you place in the top 3, you get the plastic trophy, and you've spent loads of money, believe you me, to get that. So there's a $20,000 prize for the top prize, and then $2,000 we're giving away every month for the best transformation of that month. So there's everything to it's got all the ingredients to help kind of motivate you, Tiffany, on just having that community, doing it all together, being able to chat to women, because there's a community in the app. It's a bit like Facebook, but it's not Facebook. We've got our own community feature. It's just going to help you along the way. And it's got the step-by-step guide on your workouts, what to eat. It's got the vegan meal plan, so you don't need to worry about being vegan. You can get all your protein in. I've always made my meal plans vegan options because there's just a lot of demand. I personally like eating vegan food. By the way, when I was in Asia, I checked out a lot of vegan restaurants because it's like a way of really being able to ensure you can eat healthy. And what I noticed, some of them were really good at knowing that you need to sort of pay attention to protein. So they would have things like protein shakes, and you could add in extra tempeh or something to get your extra protein in and stuff like that. And I'm totally on board with vegan eating and everything. I'm personally not a vegan, but I do eat a lot of vegan food, and I enjoy it. So there's all of that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the 8-week transformation. But before I go into that, have you got any questions, Faith? Because I know people are in the chat going, can I learn a bit more about the 8-week transformation? So I will go into it, but I just want to make sure I've covered everything off for you, Faith.
I am very grateful, and I'm thankful for, one of your assistants, Abby, who reached out to me, and just everyone has been so supportive, and I'm excited. So I thank you for your accountability and for your generous heart and putting yourself out there, Melissa. I've been a fan for many, many years. So to talk to you is pretty cool, and I'm all in. So thank you.
Oh, I can't wait to see your transformation now. I'm going to be looking out for it. So thanks very much, Faith, and thank you very much for kind of taking part. So just going to sort of, we're going to talk about the 8-week transformation, as Faith is now going to do that. And we'll just hear from a previous participant.
I am 5'2", and when I started this challenge, I started at 150 pounds. So for my frame, my height, that weight does not look good. It doesn't feel good. And I told myself something's got to change. I either need to go shopping for more clothes because I was not comfortable in my skin and in what I was wearing, or I need to lose weight, get healthy, and fit into my closet full of clothes. I started this challenge, and here I am today. From 150, I'm down to 133, so 17-pound weight loss. Not only did I lose all that weight, but I also lost inches. I lost inches in my chest, my arms, my waist, my hips, my legs. Everywhere I needed to lose those inches, I lost it. Thank you so much.
So that was Linda Aguilar. And I've got to be really careful now, because usually when I do press the forward button, then I end up having to play it. Oh yeah, it's doing that. That was Linda Aguilar, and she was actually our first ever winner. I think that's right. Yeah, she did amazing. But you know, there's lots of other amazing transformations. So if Aruba's here today, not Abby, that not Abby, that Faith mentioned. Aruba, could you put the link in the chat for the 8-week transformation challenge? And if you're watching this back as a recording, the link is actually in the description as well, but you can find it at melissaneal.com/challenge. I've actually put the wrong thing in there. That's it should be melissaneal.com. Let me just change this while we're talking, because that's actually really irritating me that I've put the wrong. Actually on the next slide it's the right thing, so let me try sharing that again. Right, let's do share screen. Sorry about that, but I know hopefully, yes, Aruba's put the link in the chat. So if I just go back one before we get into all of that, that's where the website's wrong. So there's $22,000. It is dollars, it's US dollars, up for grabs in March. The first prize being $20,000. So that would be judged on all the people that took part in January, February, March, and there'll be like a grand prize just actually when the March people have finished the 8-week challenge in May. So that's going to be announced in May. And in March, one of you lucky guys is going to get $2,000. And then that they will be, you know, that will go towards, you know, your grand prize of $22,000 if you win it overall. So it's not to be sniffed at. And also during the challenge, we have weekly challenges, smaller challenges to keep you motivated, where there are things like the merch, which I'm showing off my tank here, my workout like a bro tank, loads of other stuff like that, and like $100 kind of smaller prizes. So that's kind of what's on offer in March. And then there are sort of two ways that you can sign up for this. So there's the standard package, which is $97 until the 27th of February. So you can get it if you buy it now or before the 27th of February. And I would suggest you do actually get in there early to just sort of plan everything out, because you can get into the community, start asking questions, download your meal plans, your shopping list. It is all inside my app, but there is also some PDF downloads. If you prefer paper and doing things by paper, you can download PDFs, but it is also in the app. And you kind of get your meal plans, your shopping lists, all the tutorials on how to take part, even tutorials on how to pose for your pictures, and access to the private community and your competition entry. And this is really my signature program where women are getting absolutely incredible results. So when you go to the website, you'll see all the before and after pictures. And the lady sort of who was pictured at the start of this presentation, which I'll go back to, her name is Kristen Menders. She had an amazing transformation. She won $22,000. And, you know, this stuff works. I've taken everything I've learned from helping now 10,000 women through my programs. It's tried and tested. So, you know, when we were talking to Marina and I said, you know, you got to change up your nutrition, same with Faith. It's not because I want to be mean to you. It's because I want the best for you. I want you to achieve the body of your dreams. And you can do it no matter what your age. Maybe you've just turned 40, maybe you're 70. You know, we have someone called Rennie Landers who comes onto my channel sometimes. She's in her 70s, she looks incredible. This is for anybody, but it's only open to women over 40. So if you're not 40 yet, I'm afraid you can still buy it, but you can't win the prize. And then, so that's the standard access. If you want something where you've got more support and you want to like have a weekly live call and things like that, we have the premium access, which is $297. Now that's the same whether it's on early bird or later on, it's the same throughout. And it's not in addition to that $97 or $147, it's $297 altogether. And it's an absolute steal because you get 6 months access to my Strong Women Club. So that means that once the 8 weeks is finished, you have got something that you can maintain and sustain after the challenge and have support and guidance from me and my team, a weekly live call. There are like bonus guides on mindset, thyroid health, how to handle it. Maybe you're going on vacation. We've even got a really great guide on sleep now. We've got a guide on how to control your eating, which is amazing, with Dr. Erica Flint. So like a load of stuff there. And also, if you sign up for premium, you're going to get a session with one of my amazing coaches. So that is like absolutely incredible value. You're going to get a session with them where they're going to plan with you how you are going to take on this challenge and beyond. Because if you buy premium, you won't just get the 8 weeks, you get a whole 6 months with us, and they'll plan that with you. So I hope that all makes sense, but do let me know in the chat if you've got any questions at all about that. And just before I actually stop you there, I'll just go back to the first slide. I'm going to stop sharing there because it is quite difficult to do this without scrolling through every single slide. And I'll just show you the picture of Kristen Menders, who did absolutely incredible on this. And that was just in 8 weeks. Just in 8 weeks. Just think, in 8 weeks, you could have $22,000 and a banging new body like Kristen did in 8 weeks, or 8 weeks after the 3rd of March. So it is absolutely possible. So does that excite you? Faith is still here, so I'm going to get her back on. Does that excite you, Faith?
Yes. I'm very excited. I'm going to do it. And she looks fabulous. She looks great. Wow.
Kristen, and there were people other than her throughout last year that are all on the website. So I'm just looking. Oh, someone said, what kind of equipment is needed? You don't need really very much. You need some dumbbells, you know, maybe sort of 2 pairs of dumbbells, something that's suitable for your upper body and something that's suitable for your lower body. The equipment is listed on the website as well, but you can do this from home. So you don't need to do this from, you know, you don't need a gym. this is a passion of mine that I'm absolutely adamant about, because I got amazing results during the pandemic. So if I just sort of share the screen again, I will just, sorry, the video started playing then as well, but I will just sort of share the screen so you can see where you would go to sort of join this challenge. So I'm on the right thing, aren't I? I've got to, this is always, doing two things at once is always a little bit difficult for me as a sort of 57-year-old woman. But when you go, you can click the link. Now, if you're watching this back as a recording, the link's below, or Aruba's put it in the chat. And you know, you've got all sorts of information. There's like pictures, before and after pictures there of the results that women are getting, and then lots of sort of information about how it all works, what the prizes are, how you win the prizes. And then I think if I scroll down right underneath, so if you want to sign up for it, you'd click one of these, join the challenge now, and I'll just go through that. But also there's a sort of FAQ if you sort of scroll to the bottom here. So you I'm just trying to see if there is actually a thing on equipment. It doesn't actually say. Might have to ask Aruba. Do you know the answer to that, Aruba? I should know, but my mind is sort of full of so much information. So there's a few FAQs, but to my knowledge, you kind of need a couple of pairs of dumbbells. And if you're working out at home and you haven't got like a treadmill, you're going to need something like, I don't know, you're going to need a weighted vest. That's it. So if you click on this buy button, join the challenge now, you'd be invited to either sign up for the standard package, which at the moment it's on the early bird discount, or I can't even find it now. Maybe when you get the standard package, I think that's right, actually. When you get the standard package, you will also be offered the premium package once you've bought the standard package, which you would just be able to upgrade to for another $200. That's how it works. So yeah, just, you know, hopefully Aruba's put that in the chat. I don't know whether she has. Oh yeah, she's put in the challenge. Start the challenge. Do you know, Aruba, what equipment we need? Because Aruba works on my customer service desk, so she knows this much better than me. And I do apologize that I haven't been, you know, quite as on the ball with that. But I'm pretty sure it's dumbbells and a weighted vest if you were working out at home. Bruce Reed Ministry said, if I'm in the challenge now, can I join the next challenge for March? You can do. I'm not, but you need to enroll again. So you can't just, if you've got to buy it again if you want to take part again. That's the main thing. But we don't bar anyone that's done it before. Yeah, so Aruba says a pair of light and heavyish dumbbells, a weighted vest weighing between 5 kilos and 10 kilos. The weighted vest is, you normally, of course, in kilos, lots of you be thinking in pounds, would be about 8 pounds to 16 or 18 pounds on the weighted vest. So it's not a massive amount of equipment. Everybody's putting some love in for you, Faith. They're saying they love your energy. And like, you know, you're really inspiring people, I think, to sort of make a change. So thank you so much for taking part in this.
Thank you, Melissa.
And thank you everyone so much for joining. It's lovely to have you here, and I hope that has inspired you in some way by seeing some real women and their real challenges and how we can really overcome them and get them the result they want. And I hope to see you very, very soon, everyone. Take care, everybody.